was like, okay, but I'm running the show. It's
All right, what's up, everybody? Today I have James Jackson, a founder of a production company, and I think this is the first production company we have on the show, and I'm very, very excited to kind of dive deep into the business and learn what's working well for him. So, James, can you share with us, how'd you get into this business?
Well, I got into the business through kind of not really the back door, but just started doing theater lighting when I was in my 20s. I come from a background of photography, and at the time, it was the early 2000s, late 90s. So companies were starting to cut their photography crews down to less and less photographers. So I started doing theater lighting, and that led to event lighting, which led to more and more different roles in event companies and production in general, which led to me founding my own company eventually because I got sick of having companies that didn't really pay people well or treat people well. And so I founded my own company so that I could make sure that my crews were taken care of and my clients knew what to expect.
Wow, that's that's great. Well, I was, I had I was helping out my friend's production company when I was in college, and you're right about the pay. I was like, what you pay? You don't even get paid anything if you're lucky, you know?
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, when I started, I was making minimum wage, and it was my responsibility to, make sure that the show happened. So, like, how much are you charging for tickets? How much are you relying on this person who's getting paid minimum wage for your own livelihood, and then you're not willing to cut them a reasonable part of the fees that you're getting? That just seemed an atrocious business model to me. And there was a lot of burn through of the crews that I worked with. And so as I gained managerial experience, I just saw that that was one of the key areas in which companies usually fail in the production space is they can't keep good talent because they're not willing to pay appropriately.
so what did you do to resolve that situation with the pay?
Well, that's like I said, why I founded my own company. I make it clear upfront to clients, uh, you know, this we're not the cheapest in the business. We're not the most expensive either, but I do pay my people. This is what they cost per hour. If that, doesn't fit in your budget, then find another company. It's not, it's, there are other companies out there that will service your needs at a lower price point, but that's not us. And the other thing I do is always get the labor costs covered up front with the deposit. So if for some reason the client has billing problems, I don't have to hold out on my employees. I can just pay them and then worry about it from the back end for my own business.
That's great. I think from my own brick and mortar business, when a client asks me why so much, I tell them we don't have the best price in town.
Right.
We have the best service, but we're not the most expensive. Make that clear. We're not the most expensive, but absolutely we are not best price.
No, no, yeah, no. I mean, there's just no way to reasonably in 2020 when you're competing with 2022 when you're competing with people who literally gouge their workers. Like you can't compete with that on price point. Like a full third to a half of my costs are labor. I can't, if somebody's conned people into working for them for minimum wage, I can't compete with that. So my guys make money and they're good at what they do, and they'll probably get it done in half the time that the guys making minimum wage are going to get it done in. But it's just what it is.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point in terms of starting a new business is investing in talents and investing like experience, experienced employee and people who really help you to grow the company, not just getting the cheapest employee, but investing in that. Like at one of my salon, actually 60% of my revenue goes to payroll, which is
Right,
huge,
right.
but I have
Yeah,
the
yeah.
best worker in town. Like they are the best. So I think that's really good. So walk me through like the first time when found your own company, like how many employees you have and how did you get your first client?
So a lot of the clients that I have are kind of rollovers from clients that I had when I was just a freelancer, because I worked my way up into the managerial positions on a lot of these freelance gigs. And so now when people call me to run a show, I'm just like, okay, but I'm running the show. It's my show. I'm the production company. And so, any labor that you need, you run it through me. And the the reason why I do that is because I want to protect the labor. I want to keep the people that I have employed working. Um, and Oddly, most of the labor in this market, in this field, is freelance. Much like the salon industry, like I don't I don't have guaranteed hours for anybody except for my associate producer who basically runs my schedule. Uh and works tirelessly on every project that I have. But she's the only full-time employee I have. Everybody else just is per project. And that keeps us light, it keeps us flexible. We can service clients that only need one or two people. We can service clients that need 500 people. So it just it depends on the needs of the project.
I see, I see. That's actually really smart. Giving very I would say lean and you like just hiring contractors and freelancer to come and work on a project base, right? Like every project's different, so it gives you more flexibility to scale and upscale and downscale in any project. So how many, I would say like since you started, what is the best method of like growth that you experience?
um I find that it interestingly is a lot like when I was freelancing. It's really finding a new niche to fill, and becoming uh what's the word I'm looking for? Becoming talented at that niche faster than other people on the marketplace. So during the pandemic, it quickly became about live streaming and hosting events virtually. So we hosted the US Africa Business Summit, and we're one of the first, I would say, 20 to 30 production companies in the US that can do that. That's 3,000 people a day from around the world, literally, having live conversations and being shown to 2 to 3,000 people. It's no small feat. And we
Wow.
needed a lot of folks on that gig. But the technology that's out there is new and evolving, and we're constantly having to keep up with it. to make sure that we stay on top of the market.
That's so interesting how, COVID just completely added a whole new category in live events,
Right.
a
Yeah.
virtual live event. That's interesting. I think my first we don't realize it, but I never heard about Zoom until COVID, and I couldn't go to meetings, and I had to use Zoom, and then I start seeing other coaches like I think Tony Robbins threw the biggest Zoom virtual event in the world. I think last year he had 130,000 people watching or something, which is bananas, right?
Right.
So where do you think the future of like live events gonna go? Do you think it's gonna be like a virtual base?
I think that everybody has a real taste to get back in front of people. Like, at the beginning of the pandemic, I said, the problem with my business is all aspects of my business involve getting large numbers of people into small rooms. Like to that's it. Like that's the entire production business. You're getting large numbers of people together in small rooms. And there's a real desire for that. There's a psychology to it. There's definitely an interplay that happens between a presenter and their audience in person that doesn't happen over the virtual space. But at the same time, I think that the pandemic taught us a number of lessons about accessibility and about attendance metrics that would allow inclusivity and diversity and accessibility for a wider audience. So I think that folks that while they want to get back in person, I think that they're going to find that there's still a huge demand for at least simultaneous virtual attendance. And that's where I see the future going. My company and other companies have experimented with more interactivity between presenters and the audience in the virtual space, and it's very difficult. It's not a problem that is in any way solved by any means, but that's where I see it going. That's where I see us. Most of the production companies that do live streaming and virtual events really pushing the envelope is trying to serve their clients in a way that allows them to feel as though they have a real presence even in the virtual space.
I see. Yeah, I think a lot of my friends or peers in the I could say like coaching and marketing space, they do a lot of live events and virtual same time. So they'll have a live event, stage event, set up. They'll have 600 to 2,000 people at the event, and they'll do the same virtual event of people who couldn't attend. And frankly, the ticket costs just as much. you
Well, I
know?
mean, to be honest, it costs just as much to produce a virtual event as it does
Yeah.
to produce a live in-person event. The only cost savings that you might have, and not always, you might have a cost savings on the venue. That's about it. Crew wise, technology wise, expenditure wise, it's all the same. You're just spending it on different stuff. And then doing the dual events, live and virtual, at the same time, overlap in what you're spending. There's a number of areas where you have to spend double, to make that event happen.
Hmm. So right now, what are like I'm curious, what are like some of your coolest project that you worked on in the past that you can share with us?
Um, I would say I really enjoyed. I always do enjoy doing the U.S. Africa Business Summit. Um, that is a fascinating process to watch from the production side, production standpoint. I'm not there to participate. I'm not there to, really talk about, big business things, but it's the most likely where I'm to run into a head of state or have to put a belt pack on a king from an African country. So yeah, that's an awesome responsibility most of the time. I also, get to in virtual events get to scold people who are way above my pay grade for not using their headphones or not muting themselves.
So you said this what is it called again? The BM business?
U.S. Africa Business
Oh,
Summit.
US Africa Business Summit. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. And who are the attendees? Like how do you get these 3,000 people coming on?
So the attendees are business people, CEOs, marketers, and politicians. So you get everyone from you'll often get the entire offices of state and state governors and senators offices. You'll often get entire heads state departments of foreign nations, and the speakers are usually heads of state and the or the economic representatives of the state. So they're like they're um, they're foreign economic advisors, things like that. And there's also usually CEOs and heads of major corporations and international corporations. So it's a real uh, set of bigwigs that all feel like their time is valuable.
Wow, that's a lot of people, man. So how do you like how many people you have working on this project?
So our crew ends up being 10 to 20 flexibly throughout the day. Just making sure that people are attending meetings, that they're get this is for the virtual event. During a live in-person event, I'd say the crew numbers are the same. The responsibilities a little bit less because when you have people in person, getting them to the room that they're supposed to be in is really the job of their handlers. And we don't have to take on that responsibility. But in a virtual space, you're usually dealing more directly with the speaker, and so making sure the CEO of Merck, for instance, shows up to a Zoom meeting on time, and gets his headphones in and sounds good on the microphone is a daunting task, because you usually don't have more than 5-6 minutes with that person to make sure that they look good on camera and can be heard.
Wow, that's great, man. So is this the only ongoing project you have at the moment?
Oh no, I mean that's just you asked what the cool projects were. We
Yeah. Oh,
we
okay.
work on projects all the time. We do virtual events, theater, we do live event coverage for social causes. Throughout the pandemic, we did coverage of both social and political rallies and events. Um, and I mean, well, we do most anything. One thing I would say is that um, we are selective with our clients, so we do tend to only support clients who are aligned with us politically and wouldn't violate our company's values in other ways. So there have been asks for support for events that we just said no to. I think it's important, especially in the current sphere of social media and social consciousness, to lead with your company's values and lead with your the values that you hold dear personally, because the the onus is on all of us who build platforms to make sure those platforms are used for good.
Wow. How do you like, um, I would say like it, that's it's hard to say no to a client, you know. When you know that it could that that could, you know, pays the bills and but I guess when you value the company mission and goals and ethic and, you know, everything else that align with your core values, I think it makes sense to make sure you only attract your ideal clients and not the one that you don't want. Um, so if there's somebody listening and, you know, they're thinking about, I don't know, getting into productions, or they are working in a production company and they're thinking about, you know, how can they take to the next level? What are like your advice for, you know, if you were to give yourself 20 years ago?
20 years ago, I was working as a freelancer in theater and in events. And I would say my advice to me 20 years ago would be that you're probably right. This isn't going to get better unless you do something. And so, I mean, I've worked events with tons of people and tons of companies, and everyone complains, you know, on the job. It's just, it is what it is. You're never working and don't have something to complain about, I suppose. But and I've heard people gripe even on my jobs, and it's disheartening when you're trying to make things work out right. But at the end of the day, I would say that my advice is, if you want to make things work out right, you need to take control of them and take ownership of them. And when you do that, you'll find that people value your work a lot more than if you're just going along being a cog in the system, so to speak.
Yeah, I think I think that's true across all industry. You know, the complaint, the grind, and it's the same. It is what it is. Work is hard. You know, just deal with it.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I
all
mean,
right.
we all get there, and then and you know, you get on the job, and you're like tired, and you've been working for 8 hours, and you know, you just got these last five things to finish up. Yeah, we're all gonna gripe. You know, it is what it is. But you know, at least you can hopefully make the gripes. Um, Man, this is so much work. It's good work, but it's so much work. And then, you know, then the gripe is fine. You know, like I'm like, all right, yeah, you know, yeah, it is a lot of work, but hey, I got you a lot of work. So
Well, somebody got to do it.
yeah,
You know, and you get paid handsomely for doing that, you know.
yeah.
I think like having some passion, some love of what you do really goes a long way and not get burned out. Um, so Oh, one more question is, I was just thinking like, oh, you know, a lot of people, so a lot of listener on the show of this, you know, local domination show is business owners, right? From
Hmm.
small scale to a really big scale, like, you know, seven figures a month type of business. And it's really interesting that, you know, you're doing events and virtual events and helping companies to set up events, right?
Right.
So if, you know, I have a business owners and they're looking to do a live event, you know, to their even their employees, right? That throw an event for their employees. They might have a couple hundred employees who want to have an event, like a little end of the year party or show, or they want to throw an event at a hotel for getting, you know, new prospects, right, to come and watch, and so they can give a presentation in live event and virtually. How can they get in touch with you?
Sure. You could just reach out through the website, lightthiefproductions.com or light-thief.com. Um, we have a query form right on there. You can just email me, James J at light thief, Jackson at light-thief.com. Sorry. And of course, our business phone number is 347-735-6762. That's always available. It usually rings direct to me, but you might reach my associate producer, Meg. And of course, if it goes to voicemail, I know we all hate leaving voicemails nowadays. Feel free to text me. You can text on that number as well. You did earlier today. So.
Yeah, it's hard to pick up the phone at the time, but I use texting a lot, and with automation, it really helps sort out the prospects, inbound leads and things like that. Well, thank you so much, Jane, for coming on and sharing your your background and what you've done so far. I think it has given me some motivation to kind of look into live events, in the near future. All right, well, thank you for coming on the show. We'll see you next time.
Awesome, I appreciate it.